Hey everyone, in previous lecture I discussed how can reduce ER diagram into relational schema. First I discussed for strong entity set with simple and composite attribute. In today's lecture I will discuss for weak entity set and how can convert relationship sets into relational schema. For weak entity set, it doesn't have its own primary key. So it have the discriminator, the set of attributes of weak entity set. So what we can do for weak entity set, we can create a separate table and we can add primary key of its owner entity set. Suppose A is a weak entity having this attribute A1, A2 till AM, and B is the strong entity on which A depend, and B attributes are B1, B2, Bn. These are the B key attributes. Then for weak entity relational schema, we will add A1 to AM, its own discriminator, plus primary key of its owner entity set. So both will add in the weak entity set relational schema. The primary key will be combination of owner primary key and discriminator of the weak entity set. So there also we add the foreign key constraint referencing to its owner entity. Consider the example section. In case of section, it have section ID, semester and year are the discriminator, whereas for course primary key is course ID. So for section relational schema, there will be course ID, section ID, semester and year. So key is the combination of primary key of owner and its discriminator. So these are the discriminator of section and this is the primary key of owner entity set, that is course ID. Clear? For weak entity set, we will create a separate table. Primary key will be its discriminator plus owner entity primary key. Next is representation of relationship set. There are mainly four type of relationships: one to one, one to many to one and many to many. So for our relationship, we will create a separate relational schema where keys will be combination of all the key plus its descriptive attribute. Okay, suppose we have a relation and it is related with A and B, two entity set, and this is our R, and R have X. Okay, then for R, when we will create a table, then A primary key, B primary key plus X will be the attribute of R. So R will contain keys of the entity set plus its own descriptive attributes. In case of many to many relationships, the union of both primary key will be primary key of the relationship schema. And in case of one to one, any one primary key we can use as the primary key for the relational schema. Then in case of many to one or one to many side primary key will be primary key for the relational schema. So in case of one to one, any one primary key you can use. In case of many to many, both primary key will use. In case of many to one or one to many side entity set primary key will use as the primary key. And for NR relationship without any arrow on its edges, arrow we use generally for one side, right? If there is no arrow, means there is no many to one relationship, union of primary key of all the entity set will become the primary key. And if there is a NR relationship with arrow, then except that arrow entity set, all other entity set primary key union will be the primary key. Arrow means what? That is the one side, and we are not using one side key, right? In case of many to one, one to many, we use many side primary key as the key for the relationship. So in case of NR relationship with arrow, we'll skip that one side, skip that arrow entity set, rest all other entity set primary key union will be the primary key. Let's see the example. For advisor relationship, student and instructor are the entity set, and this is a many to one relationship. In case of one, there is arrow mark. Now for advisor relation schema, we can use both key like ID and ID. As both name are same, so we can write SID and IID. SID for student ID and IID for instructor ID. And what will be key for it? Key will be the student ID. This is the many side. Always many side primary key becomes the primary. So SID will be primary key for advisor relational schema. Now we'll see some more relational schema derived from the relationship. So first is teaches. Teaches here, this is a total participation. So section entity and instructor entity are related by teaches. Section is a weak entity set. So for section, its key will be section ID, semester ID, year plus course ID, as its owner entity set is course. For teaches, key should be instructor key and section key, as section key contain course ID, section ID, semester, year, and instructor key contain ID. So all will be key for teaches. This is a many-to-many relationship. There is no arrow. In case of many-to-many relationship, both keys combinedly form the primary key for the relationship. Next, text. Text related to student and section. Section is the weak entity. So section keys are section ID, semester, year, and course ID, and student keys ID, and text have a descriptive attribute that is grade. So for text, attribute will be ID, then course ID, section ID, semester ID, year for section, then grade. This is also a many-to-many relationship. So primary key will be combination of both primary key, right? Next, pre-requirement. For its course ID and pre-requirement ID will be the ID. Next is advisor. Advisor related student with instructor. This is a many-to-one relationship. In case of many-to-one relationship, many side ID will be the primary key for the relational schema. So here student ID and instructor ID will be the attribute, and student ID will be the primary key. Next, section course. Section course that combine weak entity set with the its owner entity set. It is the identifying relationship. For section course, its attribute will be course ID, then section ID, semester, year. This is a many-to-one relationship. So many side key should be key for this, and many side key are section ID, semester, year, and course ID, as it doesn't have its own primary key. It dependent on its owner primary key. Next, instructor department that relate instructor with department. So this is a many-to-one relationship. This is a total participation. So many side primary key will be key for instructor department. Instructor ID, that will be the key for department, and here attributes will be ID and department name. Department name is one side entity set attribute. That's why it will not be the primary key. Primary key will be only instructor ID. Next, student department. This is a many-to-one relationship, total participation. For student, its primary key is ID. So for student department, it will be ID and department name. Primary key will be many side entity set primary key, that is ID. Next, course department. Course department, that is a many-to-one relationship. This is a total participation. Here many side primary key, that is course ID, will be the primary key, and other attribute will be department name. So course ID and department name both will be the attribute, and course ID will be the primary key. Next, section time slot. Section time slot that combines section with time slot, and this is a many-to-one relationship, total participation. So many side entity set is section. Section key should be section time slot key. Section ID, course ID, semester, year, and time slot ID will be the attribute. From that, course ID, section ID, semester, year will be the key. Next, section class. Section class that combines section with classroom. This is a many-to-one relationship, total participation. So many side key should be key for the section class relationship. So here attributes will be section ID, semester, year, course ID, building, room number, capacity, and primary key will be section ID, semester, year, and course ID, as it depends on its owner primary key. So when we are creating relational schema or table for the relationship, in case of one-to-one, any side primary key can be the primary key. In case of many-to-one, many side primary key will be the primary key, and in case of many-to-many, both primary key will be the primary key. And in case of weak entity set doesn't have its own primary key. It depends on its owner primary key. So for weak entity set, discriminator of its own and primary key of its owner form the primary key. In today's lecture, I discussed how can convert weak entity set and relationship into relational schema. In next lecture, I will discuss how can reduce this. There will be so many table. How can reduce the number of table? If this lecture is helpful for you, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.